right, folks, joining us now for an enlightening journey into the depths of environmental concern and to unravel the intricacies of the coral bleaching crisis is coral reef scientist, restoration ecologist, Mr. Felix Charnley. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Smile. Explain what I just said. You're a restoration ecologist.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, a scientist.
We have to look at what we once had to know what we want to go back to, essentially. So when we talk about restoration, the word really means literally to restore something to its former state. But again, in coral reef science, we have to accept that we're never going to get back what we lost, especially after years like 2023.
Yeah. You're from the United Kingdom.
That's right.
But you have a Jamaican connection, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Was your grandfather? Was it?
My step-granddad is Jamaican, and my first time I was here, I was 3 years old, and on and off over the years.
And you're here now on contract?
That's right. So I recently graduated from UI, I did a postgrad in natural resource management, and so I'm now working through the White River Fish Sanctuary.
Fantastic. I was preparing for this, and I felt like I needed a PhD to understand everything that I was reading. What's the role first of the coral reef? What's the role for that?
I mean, the coral reef has a right to live. It has a right to exist. It provides 25% of marine life, habitat, food. But then, if you're going to look at it purely from an anthropogenic perspective, for humans' sake, it buffers our coastline. It keeps our buildings intact, if we have buildings on the coastline. But again, prevents us.
How do they do that?
It's a barrier between coastal erosion because the waves and the hurricanes, as those grow increasingly frequent, they crash against those waves.
Yeah.
When that dies, when that system is defunct and no longer self-regenerating with live coral, it'll gradually erode.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the producer and Scotty to put up back the picture that you had before, and we look at the colors. Not that one. The one I had before, Scotty. I think it was like that one right there.
So that's one of our survivors.
Right.
So this is an elk-horn coral of the Aquapora genus, which is one of our critical reef builders. These guys got seriously hard hit in 2023. And I mean, I'm not gonna avoid saying that it was a near extinction.
Yeah.
Because we safely can say that we saw more than 95% of this species die between the space of September the 1st and October the 1st.
I have this here, and it's now white, which is what they're saying, bleaching.
That's a skeleton.
And it goes from, because not only the colors that we saw, there are other colors that a coral reef would have. How did it get to this?
So, for example, the healthy color of the healthy tissue, this is the same genus of the picture behind us, is this orange golden color that would have been predominantly the entire reefscape that you would look out over a Caribbean reef. Since the 1970s, that color has gradually declined, and now you get kind of the browny algae. But when it stresses and temperatures hit 29 degrees and above, it turns white because they expel those algae that live inside the skeleton that give it that color. Okay,
and when it turns white,
yes,
it is dead?
It's a matter of time.
Before it dies?
Before it dies. What we saw in 2023 was that time period was literally, for these two species right here, a matter of 3 weeks.
Can this go back to that, what we're looking at?
If temperatures drop again, which they didn't. So this 2023 was the hottest year on record because of us, but also we had an El Nino heat wave. Yeah. So that really took everything out. So that double whammy resulted in us losing. So the thing is that you'll go snorkeling now and you see the corals surrounding the one in this picture that are still white.
Yeah.
Those are in the process of recovering now, so brain corals and star corals. But these guys are the most important ones.
I also read that it would have a problem with tourism. Why? Because people come here to snorkel and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to show a tourist now? They're going to swim out there and they're not going to see any fish because the fish don't have any habitat, and the habitat is no longer thriving. So it's devastating from a recreational point of view, but also, like I was saying about the actual coastal infrastructure no longer having the protection of a self-regenerating reef barrier.
You've already said that the only way it would come back is if the temperature drops.
If there's still time for that, yeah. If it's already too late, which it is for these guys, but that's what makes what we're doing now so much more important, which is literally swimming the entire coastline of Jamaica, if we get there. So far, since October, I have swam the entire coastline of St. Anne and Trelawney on separate dates, looking for any survivors. So this is an example of a survivor, and we've had some pictures on the slides of the survivors. And the one you showed a moment ago is a survivor, photographed in November, but partially dead, because now what's happening is the predators, the snails and the worms, they're moving in because that's all that's left for them to eat. So it's a matter of time.
Apart from the temperature changing, is there anything man can do to bring it back? Is there anything you can do?
Absolutely. Everybody can do something. We all need to demand that global governments keep fossil fuels in the ground. If we don't do that, what we're doing is literally just buying time, but we have to be, what we're doing is the most optimistic thing anyone can do, which is to buy time for these species and try and keep them alive, in the hopes that humanity can afford them a more hospitable planet to thrive in.
Yeah.
And that we just have to continue to big up all the people blocking roads and everything who are really demanding that governments keep fossil fuels in the ground, because there's no other way about it. There's no market mechanism around this.
Yeah. Not certain authorities would like the fact that you're telling people to block roads, but
yeah, I mean, change.
But I hear you. Are we worse off? We, Jamaica, Caribbean, are we worse off than anywhere else in the world?
It looks to be the case. This was a regional heat wave, but the heat wave is now heading towards the Pacific, so that, you know, it's global, hottest year on record, all of them things. But Jamaica specifically was at the center of the prolonged heat spike, so we did kind of have it the longest.
So Jamaica, as opposed to the Caribbean, we're worse than the Caribbean and we're worse than the world?
It seems to be the case.
Wow.
It was particularly sustained in Jamaica throughout October, September, and November still. Yeah. And I've been asking around, we've spoken to colleagues, you know, in the Dominican Republic, they say that they may have seen a 50% survivorship of these species, which, you know, blew my mind, because we've definitely seen 95% die off.
We've been seeing pictures and videos, and as you rightly said, some are still alive, some are, it look like it's thriving. Yeah. On a percentage-wise, how much have we lost? Out of 100%, how much have we lost?
Of these species, these critical ones, we're looking at well over 90. I mean,
we've lost over 90%.
Since in the space of 3 weeks, yes. Over the space of 4 decades, we lost a 90%. But that remaining 10% was so hard hit in this past autumn. Yeah. It looks like, because I started this contract and I was swimming around White River, and there were, you know, every yard or so you'd see a healthy one of these, and they all died in 3 weeks' time.
Final question, because I've seen people wear pendants with coral. So is that an issue? People go taking it and doing all kinds of jewelry and stuff?
We don't want that to start happening now too much, because, you know, while those skeletons are out there, they're still providing habitat. You know,
so this is still kind of good.
Yeah, those are fossilized remains, and the fish still live in them. So it's incredibly important that we continue to protect them. But what we're doing is trying to find the survivors so that we can start again and rebuild a healthy population. But again, you know, no one's saying that they'll survive 40-degree warming. So we still have to demand that humanity halve its footprint.
It's quite unfortunate that I have to go. I could talk about this for an entire day. Sir Scientist.
Thank you.
Bridging, respect. See?
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah, big up.
Yeah, big up. That sounds so wonderful. Still. Good to see you. And thanks for coming in. Blessings. Coral reef scientist, restoration ecologist, Felix Charnley. Here's the band again. Them can't wait.